You tuned into the WDKX podcast network where the conversation never stops. And so let's get into it. I am Dr. Gloria Morgan, and this is Parenting Tips with Dr. Glow. I am reminding all my listeners that education is in my DNA. Many of us in the Rochester area are very much aware of what happened a few days ago when a 15-year-old child took her life by jumping off the roof of her school. Unfortunately, she did not survive that jump, and as a result, support was given to the students at that school as well as at other schools who may have been in contact with that person or simply were feeling all kinds of emotions. Today, parents, I'd like to talk to you about the importance of helping your child to be mentally strong. What do I mean? Relationships with you should be strong and positive, as well as healthy relationships with their friends, as well as among their family. So, I'm going to give you the first of 10 tips, and I do hope that you will embrace them. The first one is to teach your child to be resilient. What do I mean by that? They have to be able to bounce back. They have to be able to have an experience that's not so great, but they realize it's not the end of the world. The hair color may have come out wrong at the beautician, or they were in a car accident, or they failed an exam. I have one of my children who was working with a classmate her first year in college on an assignment, and that assignment they turned in, and their papers were exactly the same. They did not realize that was considered plagiarism. The professor spoke with them, they explained what happened, and as a result, they only got a zero for that assignment. He could have failed them for the course. But because it was a first year experience, they were resilient, understood the value of maybe working together, but having their own voice or their own document to submit for grading. So help him or her to be resilient. Second, encourage your child to solve problems, meaning that there are things that will happen in life that they don't like, and there are things or decisions they have to do or decisions they have to make. And as a result, it could be a problem. One of the things I always would do was say on the left side, say why you should do it, and on the right side of a piece of paper, say why you should not do it. Whether it's trying out for the cheerleading squad or whether it's being able to take a course, whatever that decision is, or make a major purchase from their account or from their allowance, help your child to problem solve. Number three, ah, let them fail sometimes. This is very close to my heart because in college, my third year, I received a D in a course and I was devastated. And I mean, really devastated. I was the A student, sometimes B's, but never a C or a D. I remember calling my cousin, who's more like a sister to me, and I was in tears, and I was in tears, and I was in tears. She found me on the campus and she encouraged me, she prayed with me and let me know this course was not the only course in the world and that I failed in my sense because that D I couldn't keep going. I had to take that course again. It had to be a C or above to keep going. And that D was the something that defined me. And so I wish it had happened earlier in my life, but it didn't. But I did get through it. And as a result, you see, I'm here today, a confident adult. I won't say aging, but sometimes aging adult. The next thing I encourage you to do, parents, is to praise your child's effort, not necessarily their results. There was one child I had that the A's and B's were regular. The other child, the B's and C's were regular. And as I would say to both of them, What I want to know is that you did your best to study for or prepare this report or do the test well. And is this your best effort? And I always wanted to hear yes. And then for me, I would say A for effort, but the result is what the teacher determined you would receive. So, how do you think you can do things better next time? It's for some students, for some children, that ceiling or the highest grade they may ever get is that B or C. And as a parent, you can't compare your children and say, well, so and so got the A's and you're only getting the C's. Never, ever do that. Always encourage their effort, not necessarily their result. Teach them, number four, teach them to um, number five, teach them to control their emotions. What do I mean by that? Your child is got feelings. Your child has emotions. And as a result, bad things could happen and their emotions may go from left to right, whether it's a relationship with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, whether there's a car accident, whatever it may be, emotionally they need to take a time to breathe and say, do I really want to react to this or do I want to respond to this? A reaction means I'm going to say what I feel like saying and I don't care about the consequences. Response says, I have to think about what I say because once it's out, I can't get it back and it will have consequences. So, is a person worth going to jail for or going to detention or being suspended for? And those are the things that will help them to make and to be in control and make decisions that are responsible. Number six, help them to set healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries is not just about their physical health, but also about boundaries as it relates to the time they spend gaming, the time they spend with other friends, the time they spend watching movies, whatever it may be. There's certain things where a child may be on overload. They're in school from 8 to 3, and then at 4 they've got karate, and then at 5 they've got whatever, and then they're home for a quick dinner, and then they're back out at 7 for another event. So even as parents, we do control in a way our students' calendars. I should say our children's calendars, but they also can be a part of setting boundaries in terms of ensuring they're getting the proper rest, ensuring that everything is healthy for them. I had a mother whose son a few days ago she discovered had vaping pipes. And as a result of those items, she had to set boundaries. He had some restrictions placed on him, one of which the cell phone was taken. I think he's 16 years old. So parents help them in making those decisions. And one of the things that happened was that child expressed some challenges related to an incident that had happened. And the mother realized that therapy is necessary, and maybe therapy is necessary for both of them. Number seven, encourage independent thinking, meaning that your child doesn't have to be controlled by others. And sometimes you may be a little upset. They may resist your control. But as the parent, you're the parent, and I'm always about if I'm the parent, I have a responsibility. But for them, they can take time to think before they, let's say, get involved with an activity with a group of friends, or even before an opportunity may come and they realize, no, I don't need to do that. I don't need to go there. I don't need to, whatever it may be. And so they're not going to be with you all the time. And even though we have cell phones, they may not be able to connect with you in a timely manner. So even at home, in helping them to think through what they need to do about a matter is very simple. I spilled the milk, I dropped the egg. So, what do you think needs to happen? Uh, what is it that you suggest should happen? Number eight, help them to face their fears. All of us have fears. One child loved needles when going to the doctor, the other child did not. Had to literally talk the child off the cliff and say, this is for your good. This is going to help you to not get sick, on and on and on. Fears happen. We all can have butterflies in our stomach, and we may be afraid to do something, whether it's speaking in front of public or being able to introduce ourselves to a stranger, but help them to face that fear. And what are some strategies? As I used to tell my students in the classroom, when you're doing a presentation, public speaking, look above the heads of the people that you're talking to. Don't look at their faces. Keep a smile on your face, but understand that you want to maintain some type of contact with them with your eyes, but don't be afraid that they're going to hurt you. Most of the time, they want to help you. Number nine, help your child to learn self discipline. Teach them self discipline, whether it's in the amount of candy they eat or whether it's in the money they spend in their allowance. They need to be self disciplined, even in making up their bed. Small things. Discipline means training. So if they self train, if they go through that routine, they will every day do that. And without a doubt, you will know they're making that decision and they're making that choice. Those are positive things. On the negative side, they can they could skip school. They could not do their homework. And so the consequences of their decisions need to be talked about as well, whether they're good ones or not so good ones. And the last one, help them to make their own decisions. That's a hard one because their decisions may not align with your values, but their decision is their decision. Are there consequences to that decision on the negative side? And so you may have to overrule, but still talk it through with your child. One of the biggest things we do as parents is say, because I said so. But the best thing to do is to help them to say, you know what, that choice is not the best one. Let me think this through. Let me think more about this. Let me get more information. And that will help them in the future when they face challenges. You have been listening to Parenting Tips with Dr. Glow on the WDKX podcast system. Question: what decision will you make today to help your child become stronger mentally?